Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Susan?
Yes?
Is our brother there with you?
Yes, he's taking Excedrin even as we speak.
Well, listen, he just called my home phone as I'm trying to get ready to do the show. I pick up and say, I'm going to start my show. And of course, he's not there. He calls me like 20 times. I'm so sick of it.
20 seconds ago. She's screaming at you.
Oh, I'm happy.
Oh, dear God. I'm sorry, guys. Hello. Welcome to the show while I bitch at my siblings. You know, people are going to start thinking people are going to start thinking you two live together.
He's leaving. He's on his way out of town. He just shows up for 24 hours to kill me, and then he leaves. They don't need to hear that you're... Yes, you're
Bill,
on.
Shut up. Hey, you guys, stop.
I'm not doing
I'm in a very bad mood.
I can tell you're in a bad mood. I just picked up my phone. You want to hear my troubles? I got no Wi-Fi. I'm on my cell phone because I have no telephone.
Okay, all right. Well, listen, I don't want to even be doing the show. I want to watch the January 6th commission hearing.
Oh, well, I can't because I have no television or Wi-Fi.
I understand that now, but yeah, right. Well, you can, whatever. Okay.
I know.
And anybody who's listening to the show, if I were you, I wouldn't. And you can tell from the beginning of the show, you shouldn't. I'm just in a bad mood. Can't help it. Anyway, hello. It's
hello.
Tuesday, July 27. And God almighty.
This is funny. He butt calls you and he's asking me for Excedrin or a leave at 1 minute to 9. And you get angry, I start laughing. So, okay, there's a difference. Let's see, what else can we talk about? Simone Biles. Do you think she's coming back for the individual?
No. I
Okay.
don't know. And at this point, I don't care. And I don't know, if people, given the time difference, are there people who are trying to avoid knowing results so that they can watch tonight in prime time on NBC?
How can you do that? It totally destroys the whole thing. I'm very uninterested. I just look at individual things here and there.
Yeah. So and this is a spoiler alert then for any of you who are doing that. Because it's all been spoiled for me because as I tried to get ready for the show and was, seeing what the latest news was, well, I found the latest news and it's all the stuff, that you would find out if you're avoiding information about the Olympics and you watch tonight. So I'm giving you fair warning, don't listen to me now.
Okay, but listen.
I've told the audience to generally go away. I've said, watch the hearings and don't listen to me if you're wondering. If anyone's left,
I'm in a bad mood. So if anybody's left, did you see my favorite headline this morning was that the sons of the sister of the Tajik president went and beat up the health ministers for all of the false information about COVID that they put out after their mother died.
No, I didn't see that.
That's all in the headline, too.
How could it be all in the headline?
Well, let's see if I can find the headline because that's what the whole thing's in the headline. Hold on.
So you mean the headline, this is not it, this is in an actual newspaper?
This is in an actual, well, it's my
because
online.
You don't have.
Right.
Oh, but I thought you said you couldn't get.
Well, this is if I do all of these crazy things to and attach it to my phone. Here it is. After the Tajik president's sister died of COVID, her sons beat up the country's top health officials. That's the headline.
Well, then
I saw no reason to read the story. There it all was.
Well, that you get. Yeah, they sort of definitely. Well, good for them. If in fact the health minister was disseminating bad information, I don't know. I mean, nothing's helping my mood. Let's go back to the. On the screen now. I'm sort of watching the hearings with the sound down. There is one of the Capitol police officers who is an immigrant to this nation, born in the Dominican Republic. He still has an accent, and he served in Iraq. He is a American citizen. He has taken the oath to defend the Constitution on numerous occasions, obviously with the military, when he became a citizen, all of those things. And it matters so much to him. And he's trying to read his opening statement, and he keeps crying. Oh. And you see that this guy is an American patriot. This is somebody who values the Constitution of the United States and put his life on the line to defend this country. And he says that even though he was, in the thick of it, I think it was Afghanistan or maybe it was Iraq, I don't know. He said he had never been more frightened for his life than he was on January 6th, facing what Donald Trump called lovely people. And it's hard. It's just hard not to want to just scream at what's going on in this country. And with the Republicans right now, this poor guy can't even get through his opening statement. Jeez. So,
well, it's certainly hard to understand how they can call themselves patriots or good Americans or even good human beings when the people that were trying to when they denied the very people that were protecting them. I mean, the whole thing is so shameful because we all watched it. We also all watched them cowering and being, and being frightened, and then like these tin, bullies come out and say, I wasn't afraid. That was just a walk in the park. I mean, I'd like to, where are those Tajik sons? I'd like to just beat the crap out of all of them. I mean, I would like to jail them all for sedition. And can we beat the crap out of them after they're in jail?
and then the Republicans in general are it is beyond me. As you said, we all saw this. And since we have seen video cams footage, the police video footage, which shows the horrors that were going on, and that Republicans, knowing all that video is out there, can still act as if they, first of all, are pro-police. I mean, they're the ones who are always talking about how we are against the police. They attack the police, and they're defending the attackers of the police, and they're refusing to participate in this commission, which is attempting to find how this happened,
right?
How it was put together, who encouraged it, who aided and abetted it. And quite obviously, the Republicans don't want to cooperate with this because the answer to that question is they aided and abetted it.
Yep.
It's like having them on the panel is like having Osama bin Laden on the 9/11 Commission.
Well, there's two sides to every story, Lynn.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. I'm aware of that. Anyway, I'm sorry. I am so angry.
Well, the interesting thing about all of this is that it sort of proves the central point about policing in this country, that policing is really designed to keep people of color locked up, failing slavery and keeping them under control that way, then they should just all be in jail. And when that same force comes after them, that's not what they're for. I mean, I just think it proves the point. White people are tourists on a happy day. The police are to keep people of color under control.
Well, let us just, acknowledge that if the people that stormed the Capitol on January 6th were overwhelmingly black, the police would have opened fire.
Yes. And to the extent that one police officer actually killed one white woman, they're screaming that he should be charged with murder.
Yes. Right.
Never mind that she was breaking and entering and in the process of committing a felony. Here's what I don't understand. I haven't looked it up, and it would be very easy to look it up, whether there is a felony murder clause in federal criminal law, because frankly, given that someone died in the commission of this riot, I don't understand why all of those insurrectionists are not being charged with murder. Charged with murder. Yeah. I would like to understand that, and the answer is probably that felony murder doesn't exist on the federal level, but I don't know that for sure. But to me, we use felony murder all the time to put as many people as we can in prison on the state level. If you drove the getaway car, if you were in on the planning and you didn't know that there was a gun involved, none of that matters. If in the end somebody dies, you, who just picked up the phone once, could be charged with murder. So I want to know why the insurrectionists, given that one of them was killed in the pursuit of this, aren't being charged with murder.
Well, because they're white people, Susan, and we all know
apparently.
That. And friends of the former president of the United States and the Republican Party that sits at his feet. Oh.
And by the way, let me make it clear. I don't think the concept of felony murder is necessarily wrong. I mean, I think it's a good way to say, don't get involved with these people, because if one of you's an idiot, you're all going to pay. I don't think that's bad. But I do think that it needs to be used equally across the population. So I don't get it.
I would argue with you about felony murder, because I just know of too many cases where people who really didn't know the other person had a gun are doing life.
I totally get it. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, that's just,
it has been used to put as many people away as possible, as long as they look a certain way. That's how it's been used.
Oh, God. Okay. So, did you see this? A 2-year-old girl. I'm just trying to get away from everything for a second here. A 2-year-old girl has been expelled from a private daycare center. First of all, a 2-year-old is expelled from daycare?
You don't get expelled from daycare. They say you can't bring her anymore, but you don't get expelled, for crying out loud. It's not. Okay.
Well, she was expelled. She was told the parents were told she was not welcome. And the reason, Susan, you figure it would be like maybe she was constantly biting the other children or something like that. No, she was dressed provocatively.
Well, ain't that in the eye of the beholder?
She was dressed spaghetti straps.
Spaghetti straps?
Now,
it's summer.
Now here.
That's a T-shirt.
Do they make spaghetti strap T-shirts for babies?
Well, they make little. I'm thinking of the dress that my 3-year-old granddaughter was wearing just yesterday. It was a summer dress. It had little string straps on top of a dress that came in at the waist and fell to her and twirled nicely. There was nothing provocative about it. It was a summer sleeveless dress.
Well, the people at PJ's Childcare have said that the spaghetti-style shoulder straps were inappropriate and asked that the mother not dress her daughter provocatively. And the mother went ballistic and said they were sexualizing her child, and the child has been expelled. Actually expelled for a lack of parental cooperation. So there you have it. Just saying. Oh, now that's you outraged. So now you're outraged.
Now I'm outraged. Because the parent is exactly where I am. That's in the eye of the beholder. Who's looking at the 2-year-old as a sexualized person because you can see their shoulder? And by the way, 2-year-old little girls frequently walk around topless. I mean, they are at swimming pools just with swimmies on and no top, and no one thinks anything of it. This is just ridiculous.
Yeah. But Susan, this is the world that we're living in. I just want to say.
So I was very lucky to have that child out of that place.
Yeah, I would think so too. But maybe it's the only place in her little town where she can have, get child. Who the hell knows? But, I read that it was in the week, and I thought, what the? You can't even take that kind of thing in. You can't even process it. So I want to talk about a letter to the editor in the New York Times today. There was a front page story in the Times about how there's rage. Well, there's rage everywhere. Rage building in the country against the unvaccinated. As I think I certainly personify. And I think it is understandable. But listen to this woman's letter. She's writing from Florida. I write this as I am sitting in the Advent Health Daytona Beach Hospital with my husband, who after a major cardiac event is waiting for open heart surgery. And I mean waiting. He spent 2 days in an emergency room because there were no beds. Now he has been waiting 5 days in the cardiac care unit for an operating room to become available. All because the hospital is overwhelmed with COVID patients. Unvaccinated people threaten all of our lives. And she goes on to say, I ask every staff member who enters his room if they are vaccinated, and about 1/3 are not.
They should not be allowed to be working in a hospital. And I don't understand why hospitals are not the ones that I go to are all requiring vaccinations. I do not. Well,
I saw something online the other day, a group that is tracking hospitals around the country and asking if, in fact, they are mandating that the people who work within their walls be vaccinated. And it is mind-blowing how few are. As far as, and I looked for the big hospitals here to see UPMC and Allegheny Health. They were not on this group's list. And I do not think, because I haven't read it in any local media, that either of them are requiring. I don't know. if any of you in the audience know, but I wouldn't step foot in a so-called healthcare establishment that in the midst of a pandemic and a new threatening surge would not mandate that their workers be vaccinated.
Well, how can you trust their judgment? I mean, I had the same thing. I had a call from a bank that I do business with in Green Bay that wanted to have a meeting with me. And I'm just talking to them. And I said, well, of course, you're vaccinated, right? You're asking me to come in. And they said, we aren't allowed to ask that question. I said, what do you mean you aren't allowed to ask that question? There's no federal reason. That's not about HIPAA. That HIPAA does not call this. And he said, well, we're sort of a don't ask, don't tell. And I said, then I won't be coming in and having a meeting with you. Goodbye. And he then texts me and says, can we do a Zoom? And I texted him back and I said, yes, but let me tell you, I have extreme trepidation about dealing with you financially if the people that are going to be making decisions are so stupid that they aren't vaccinated. So I'm not sure that I want to do business with you. And that's really how I feel about it. How do you trust, for example, your financial planner with your $5 if they aren't smart enough to get vaccinated? If they can't tell the difference between a truth and a lie, why would I trust their judgment in any other place? I ask you. And I really think that's going to be how I do business from now on. You know, are you vaccinated? Nope. Okay. I now know that I don't trust your judgment. I won't be working with you. Thank you.
Oh, hey, I managed to get Susan all pissed off, didn't I?
Well, I feel this way. I really feel this way. It's a very clear indication of your ability to critically think.
Well, it's why I parted company with my personal trainer, and I told her the same thing. And I love this person. We'd become very close, been through a lot together, and I just was stunned when she didn't get vaccinated. And you know, especially people in healthcare, you know, banking, I don't know, healthcare, yes, but yes, in general, it begs a lot of questions when somebody does not.
My daughter was in physical therapy and quit because nobody in that office was masked. You know, she walked in and she looked around and she said, see ya.
Yeah. Well, I started masking again whenever I go in anywhere now. I mean, I sort of never stopped. Well, I did. And I was thrilled to stop. And I went to restaurants and I'm back. I don't care. I'm not waiting for government to tell me. I am just safeguarding. And I'm very uncomfortable about flying, which I'm going to be doing in a few weeks.
Yeah, I know. And you know, we're all back locked up here. I cannot see my youngest granddaughter unless, if I've seen other people, unless I basically quarantine.
Well, how do you feel? But then, so how do you feel about me and my son flying on two separate airplanes? And
I'm not thrilled about it, but
walking into our mother's house.
Well, I think you should probably.
I'm wondering about it.
I think you should be. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I mean, the answer to that question for my daughter is that she won't be attending our family gathering. You know, so.
No, I understand that, but then what I'm wondering about myself. I mean, we all have to be thinking this through ourselves, not about me. I'm thinking about mother.
Right.
And even if I do come, I don't know. I don't know if I
should hug her,
you know,
or stay 6 feet away, or be masked, or I know.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, 20% of the cases in California of the Delta, variant are among vaccinated people, 20%.
Right.
So it's not rare. It's 1 in 5.
Yeah.
That's
scary.
Not rare. So,
okay. Well, I'm just
now
saying,
all of these unvaccinated people is very clearly have put us all back at risk. And if you want to ask me if I'm pissed off at them, you bet I'm pissed off at them. At this rate, we'd still have polio, we'd still have smallpox, and they're all saying, you can't make me. They're 3-year-old idiots, and I'm done with them.
A pastor in Tennessee is tired of the mask mandates and threatens to kick anyone out of his church if they are wearing a mask. He told his congregation Sunday he will ask you to leave if someone is wearing a mask.
Well,
and he went on to mention that he is
can go play him a guitar solo. Never listening to him again either.
Why? He is anti-vaccine.
He won't play. He won't play a show if there's a mask requirement. Yes, he's an anti-vaxxer.
So here's a minister who says he told his congregation that he would not be playing. I'm not playing these Democrat games in this church. Now, how does that church have tax exempt status? As how does that church have tax exempt status? Is it a political? No. Well, this country has shown that it's got far too many fools in it, and we're just not. And even what's going on in Tokyo with the, big bad Americans coming apart at the seams. I have to say, this country just seems to be going down. Everywhere you look, it's going down. I warned earlier that I'm going to say something about Simone Biles. For those of you who, for some reason, so she walked out of the team competition, which the United States has won 3 times in a row, and is just overwhelmingly favored. They lost it. They came in second. She walked out. They lost.
Well, she didn't walk out. There was a medical issue. I mean, it wasn't like she was in a huff, I don't think.
No, I think what happened, and I have no reason to believe this, but just having watched her throughout this, because I'm in awe of her, I think she did even say in an Instagram yesterday, she said, I feel like I'm carrying the whole weight of the world on my shoulders. And I think she has just had it. I mean, I think the medical issue, my bet is it's a mental issue. Well, that's a medical issue. And I understand. And I'm telling you, she'll be on the receiving end of all kinds of crap for the fact that because she left, we didn't get gold. But that little thing has been carrying America's team for
years,
a decade. And I so feel for her. You could see in her face 2 nights ago that she just wasn't. I mean, just wasn't there. So and you would have hoped that the other Americans would have stepped up, but I guess maybe they
did pretty good. I mean, we got a silver. It's not like we didn't place. We came in second, and that should be very good. I just that's a very deep team.
Let's hear about who won. Who won?
Russia.
Gold. Russia. Now that's interesting because
Russia isn't supposed to be there, right?
Yeah. Is anybody recalling that Russia was banned from the Olympics and other international competitions because of that incredible doping scandal where they were, replacing their doped urine with clean urine, and this was a finely tuned machine that even involved Russia's state security service. That's how to the top that crooked enterprise went. So they were banished for 4 years. The 4 years are not done. I don't even think 2 years are done. Some kind of a court of arbitration for sport, listening to an appeal from Russia, did drop their ban down to 2 years. But as I said, 2 years is not apparently over. And so, again, if you watch the Olympics, you have seen when they put up like who wins. If you look at it, it'll say the gold medal went to ROC, not Russia.
Yeah, the Russian Olympic Committee.
And when I first tuned in, and the commentators were saying the Russian Olympic Committee, and I'm thinking the Russian Olympic Committee. And so that's how they got around it. They're supposedly, and they're not supposed to say Russian. They're supposed to only say ROC. So that Russia doesn't.
Then maybe we won't notice that it's the Russians who are winning gold. So yes. We should protest. We should protest. We won.
Why is nothing clean anymore? Why is nothing just as it stands so that you believe what you see and what you hear? And so the ROC won the gymnastic women's gold. Russia, not so much. So, Susan, when they do the medal presentation, does the Russian flag go up? What flag goes up?
What song
the Russian flag does. Well, I do know that. I don't know that they have a flag, but I do know what song they play. And they are not allowed to play the Russian national anthem. So they're playing a portion of Tchaikovsky's Piano Concerto No. 1.
Okay.
I just have to say. Nothing is what Russia is banned from the Olympics. Well, then how come they just beat the United States? Republicans are so pro-police they can't see straight. So that's why I'm looking at this hearing now where police officers are testifying and the Republican Party is boycotting it. They just have trouble. Now there was an athlete that I do want to point out because she's absolutely astonishing, and she is a gymnast. She once competed represented the Soviet Union. Remember that?
Oh, is that the one that's like, how old is she? 85? No, she's like 40 something.
46 years old.
Yeah. Yep.
46 years old. I looked at a video of a gold medal performance she did at the Olympics in 1882 or something. She was amazing. She was one of that's when the Soviets were taking the people to beat always, and she was just amazing. And she has since represented Germany. I don't know how that happened. And she was there this time representing, I believe, Kazakhstan. Oh no, Uzbekistan, which used to be a Soviet Socialist Republic, but is now
its own country.
Her eighth Olympics. 46, still able to vault, do the floor exercises, the balance beam. She was at the Olympics. She wasn't a slouch. She was still doing it. And apparently, there's not a gymnast in the world that doesn't think of her as, just the most extraordinary person alive.
Well,
she was given
there's lots of discussion about how they should up the age that these, of competition. But I mean, it all goes along. I just wish, the whole thing with the uniforms, I'm glad finally came up, because for years it's bothered me that why women have to compete naked, and men can wear whatever they want, and it's just, we're clawing here, we're begging to be considered equal, and yet we have to disrobe to do everything that men do clothed. We talked about this at the whatever award show that was, that all the men are in turtlenecks and suits and all the women are naked. And I don't know, I guess the women are seeing that as a statement of their independence, maybe, but I just see it's more of keeping us down.
Well, of course it is. If we have to fight every little battle, like, excuse me, you mean it's 2021 and women are still
have to
mandated to wear bikini bottoms while we're showing our athleticism, and that in fact these women with it rather than enhance their performance, it takes away from their performance, because
some man was writing about, I'd like to run the whole race trying to pick my bikini bottoms out of my butt. He's, it's uncomfortable. It's not practical. Yeah, I've got a solution for it. I know what would stop it in a minute. And that's
if the men were told to wear bikini bottoms.
No, I think women should stop taking all the hair off their bodies. Go ahead, wear bikini bodies, but leave all of the hair on your body and everywhere, and then go out and wear those costumes, because that's what they are. They aren't uniforms; they're costumes, and
they're costumes to make the women eye candy. Yeah, that's all. Yeah,
they aren't really competent. There's no reason to watch those particular athletes unless you can ogle them. There's
now when you're down, we aren't at the track part, where we're seeing the sprinters and stuff. But even in track, note what the women runners are wearing and the male runners are wearing.
They're wearing the shortest of shorts. They're bikinis. And they've gotten
women are essentially racing in bikinis. Right. The women are racing in bikinis.
They've gotten shorter every year.
Now, I don't know if that's mandated or that is their own personal choice, but, the man...
It's the American Olympic Committee. It's the American Olympic Committee that makes the uniforms. And I was actually listening to a discussion about the gymnasts' uniforms, and all they talked about were how many Swarovski crystals were on them. They didn't say a word about how high cut up the legs were or anything. I like the German unitards. I think the focus should be on the athleticism of the athlete, and on the incredible talent of the athlete. And it shouldn't matter whether they're men athletes or women athletes, and we should be assessing their performances in the same way. And if a certain segment of the population is not interested in watching women athletes, if they're clothed, excuse me, fuck them. It's just, I've just had it. I am so tired. I have to say, the first thing our brother said when he came in and we started discussing various things was why Harris couldn't be president. And I think I hadn't even said hello, and I blew my stack. And I said, I don't want to hear one more white man telling me why a black woman can't be president 6 months into her vice presidency. She's disqualified. Tell me why. Well, because she can't win. Well, why can't she win? Because there's assholes like you that won't vote for a woman. Why in this country won't men vote for a woman? And this is, highly intelligent men that respect highly intelligent women still will not vote for a woman.
Well, that's not why he wouldn't. Well,
I don't know.
He wouldn't
How do
vote
you
for
know
her?
what bias he? No. What bias does he approach?
It's quite clear. It's quite clear that the media have really done a job.
No, the media's already decided that she was disqualified before she ever won.
Hey, by the way, speaking of the vice president, I just want to add another sexist thing. I think it was the New York Times said
the article about her being mean to her staff. Did you see that article?
No, but that's classic. That's classic. Any woman in a leadership position there's always an article about her being mean to the staff. You will never see that with a man.
Ever. It's like the angry black woman, the angry woman. Oh my God, you spoke to me with authority. You are angry. Oh, okay.
That's right.
Sorry. I was in a perfectly good mood, Lynn. You just destroyed my day. Good thing I'm boxing, maybe. Okay, go ahead.
You don't have to tell me. Will you stop telling me to go ahead? This is getting like spectacular. I just want you to know.
I'll try to stop interrupting you so that I don't then tell you to proceed.
Right. All right. The New York Times, I think it was, or it might have been the Washington Post, had this sort of roundup from the Olympics. So-and-so wins this, so-and-so, disappoints, Osaka is out, blah, blah, blah. And what the First Lady is wearing. First Lady fashion. So Jill Biden is there. And the story about this representative, the major representative of the United States at the Olympics, is about what clothes she is wearing. And when I saw that, it's the same thing. Do you think that this is what made me think of it, if Kamala Harris were to be the president of the United States and her husband, Doug, was sent to the Olympics to represent the United States, would there be an article about what he was wearing? Can we stop? Can we stop this? Now,
and Mrs. Biden is doing a very good job of just looking like herself and not being particularly,
a fashion plate. She's just
a
being
fashion
her.
plate.
I mean,
she's just doing
dressed.
Jill Biden.
She's getting dressed in the morning.
She's just getting dressed in the morning, and if anything, that's the last thing she wants you to pay attention to, because guess what? She isn't.
I just, Barbara said this talk about, women having to be naked reminded me of this old painting I never liked. You know what the painting is? It's the Manet painting called Luncheon on the Grass. And it is these two, there's a threesome, and they're picnicking on the grass. And two men and a woman, although there's a second woman in the background. And The men are fully clothed. In fact, one is wearing a hat and carrying a cane. The woman is naked. Her clothes appear to be lying under a bowl of fruit, having been discarded. And she is looking directly at us. You know this portrait?
Yeah, I do.
Luncheon on the Grass by Edouard Manet. 3 people.
And she's the lunch.
And she's naked. And yeah, why not? Of course, the 2 men are fully clothed. She is naked. The fourth person, this second woman, is in the background, maybe looking like she's at the side of a lake, and she is close to being disheveled. She is she's down to like a white chemise, but you can't quite see her. So Barbara, I get it. Yep, there it is. And, at least Manet, that's 1863. He painted that.
Yeah, if you go way back in art history, I mean, men were naked more than women.
Well, in the Olympics, they were naked.
Well, but I mean, even in statuary and
Yeah. Yeah.
For example, I give you David.
Yeah, it's true.
But Michelangelo's women were all clothed.
But he was gay,
right?
he liked the male form. Really, Michelangelo never did a nude woman.
Well, I'm not. Can you?
Are you sure about that?
No, I'm not sure about it at all. I make shit up all the time.
I know.
I'm
you
just
do.
thinking. I wasn't even going there necessarily in my brain. I was just thinking about all of the Roman statuary. Even that.
Well, I wanted to. You know what, Susan? I just remembered. Susan, my young kid sister, will on Saturday of this week turn 70 years old.
Ta-da!
Gee whiz.
I know. The pleasure of my birthday makes everybody else feel like shit because I'm the youngest. It's always been.
Oh, my God.
It always has had that effect. I go, I'm finally here up with you guys. And you're all like, oh, my God. Look at how old.
How dare you?
That means.
Yeah.
That means.
I'm half dead. I got one foot in the grave. Yeah, Susan is 70, which means mom had you when she was almost 29. So she was 2 weeks from her 29th birthday.
Right.
Yeah.
She had her last child when she was 29, and I had my first child when I was 29.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, dear. Well, I'm sure everybody wishes you a very happy birthday. As a matter of fact, Margaret already has. She said, happy birthday, Susan. Yeah, it's a biggie.
You. Yeah, well, I'm planning on waking up with in Green Bay with Mother, and then coming back to Chicago to celebrate with my children and grandchildren. So,
wait a minute, but you're in Chicago now.
I'm in Chicago now.
So you're going to Green Bay when?
I am going to Green Bay on Wednesday. It's a long story.
All right, never mind. I don't know how you go back and forth like that all the time. Gee whiz. Okay, so Susan, I am going. Since you're doing that, I want to give you a tip.
Yes.
About Sheboygan.
Yes.
Because you'll be very near Sheboygan.
I'll be driving right through Sheboygan. Right
by it. Sheboygan, a little town that sits on Lake Michigan. I mentioned it is rare I would ever mention Sheboygan. Think of how that sounds, that name.
I've been hearing it
first time.
Used as a reference.
Sheboygan. Sheboygan. It is a very unpleasant sounding name, isn't it?
Yes.
Sheboygan.
Which is probably why Kohler, which is actually in Sheboygan, has declared itself its own town. So you can say it's in Kohler,
Kohler
Wisconsin.
being the plumbing giant, has that
didn't want to say they were in Sheboygan.
But I thought that Kohler has become Kohler, Wisconsin. That's not.
It has. That's my point.
No, they may. Yeah. Okay. But so there's Sheboygan. Now, the fact that I mentioned Sheboygan twice this week. I mentioned Sheboygan yesterday about something totally different. And it was in noting the passing of the comedian Jackie Mason.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he was born
in Sheboygan.
He was born in Sheboygan, right? But while going through that, my magazine, The Week, last night, I see Sheboygan. And it had nothing to do with Jackie Mason. And I just wanted to tell you, and the next time I'm in Green Bay, I'm going to go see this thing. Under their art and music section, they say Sheboygan, Wisconsin punches far above its weight in the visual art world. And it's about a place called the Kohler Art Preserve, which was founded by, I think she's dead now, one of the Kohlers. I think her father was the original. Yeah. And back in 1967, she's, wandering around that part of the state, and there's a dive bar there called Dave's, I think. I think it's called Dave's. And no, it's maybe Fred's. It's maybe George's. I don't know who the hell it is, but it was a dive bar. Smith's. His name was Fred Smith, the guy who owned it. And she was blown away by outside this little dive bar in Phillips, Wisconsin, another little teeny weeny little place around there. There were these huge, towering concrete sculptures that the guy who owned the tavern had created. And she thought, whoa! And she ended up, years later, purchasing the dive bar, getting hold of the sculptures, and then creating this sort of museum in which it said that it holds, it's the only museum that of its kind, because it says it takes art that was meant to be in a certain place, feels connected to a specific environment. And she picks up these environments and brings them to
that place. Yeah.
And it sounds like this place has really unbelievably interesting, wacko things. Then she went and down to Mississippi and bought up a guy's house that he had totally encrusted with glitter. That's now up there in Sheboygan. And there's
that must have made moving it.
It says there's some guy from the Art Institute in Chicago who everybody raved about his apartment walls because of the way he had sort of curated his, I don't know, bookshelves or walls. She's got those. They're up there. A New York City textile artist, her studio is recreated there. So it's they said there's never it's called the Kohler Art Preserve, not a, it takes these, focuses on what she calls environment builders, people who make art in a specific environment, which would probably disappear unless the museum is not preserved. So I just want to tell you, that's in Sheboygan. And next time I'm in Green Bay,
we'll make a trek. We'll do it.
I'm heading down there. Brooke writes, your discussion today reminds me of my daughter, who absolutely refuses to wear anything but pants to work each day. She feels wearing a dress or a skirt minimizes her appearance. It makes her look too feminine and puts her at a disadvantage. In her words, dresses and skirts were made by men for women. I think she's absolutely right.
Absolutely right.
I know she's right. Well, I know she's right. Skirts were for women.
And they took away our pockets, so we have to carry purses everywhere.
Yeah. First of all, think about it. A skirt makes a woman available to a man sexually.
Well, it also a skirt puts her at risk. Depending on available means this also puts her at risk.
Well, yes. Also, it prevents her. Think of how a woman, because she had to wear a skirt, had to ride a horse side saddle. Try that. The obvious way to ride a horse is straddling it, but that would be considered unfeminine.
What?
So
wear a skirt and climb that ladder and do the work on the second floor window. I mean, it's, and do it in high heels, by the way, because it makes your legs look more shapely. Yeah, I've had it.
It's interesting. So we got Billy Porter and all these other guys wanting to wear skirts. Go for it, guys. You guys wear skirts, and we'll wear the pants because, I haven't worn a skirt in so long it's a joke.
I wear them.
And there's a lot of offices
because it's comfortable. But
there's a lot of offices and workplaces that women know full well that they are supposed to wear skirts and high heels. It's as simple as that. And there's no reason that has to do with the job. It is just like the gymnastic women's uniforms. It's so men can look at them sexually.
That's right.
Why can't we stop this?
No, why can't they stop it?
Well, women are complicit.
Stop
women are complicit.
Along.
Totally complicit.
Stop playing along.
And so, Brooke, I applaud your daughter.
Yep. Good for her.
Applaud her. She's absolutely right on. And she is refusing to be sexualized at work. Good for her.
Yep. I came to much
so
the same
Susan,
conclusion years ago. I had lots of very nice pantsuits.
Well, that's what do you think? That's what women wear, right? Just to be able to, I'm always suspicious of women who wear these. Well, you look at how television reporters are expected to dress now, the women.
Oh, and they're evening gowns. They wear cocktail
They're
dresses.
Wearing tight evening gowns, cocktail dresses that bare their shoulders, that show every curve in their body and show their legs. Right. And that is a direct result of Roger Ailes at Fox News. That was his mandate to the Fox News women, and all the guys that run the other station saw that it attracted more eyeballs. And since eyeballs are what they're in the business of attracting for ratings, all women. I saw a picture the other day of, it was one of the local TV stations. They had a group shot of their news team, and every single one of those women was wearing, in different lovely jewel colors, tight, form-fitting, leg-showing dresses. And I looked at that, and you know what my reaction was? I don't know if I ever would have had a career in television in this day and age, because I never fit that kind of a bill. I wouldn't have dressed that way. I couldn't have dressed that way.
Well, good news. You came up in the time of big shoulders and blue song.
Well, I was also, the reason I was first hired was as a weekend weather girl. That was the classic sexualized woman position. And I turned it on its head by never wearing anything but long calf-length skirts and boots. God, I don't know. Okay, we're done. Is our idiot brother on the road yet?
Oh, you didn't hear him leave? He left like at the beginning of the show. He gave me a big kiss and slammed the front door.
Oh. Well, I hope he evades the authorities.
I do too.
God. Okay, I want to apologize for my state today. I'll try to get it in a better place, but I don't particularly know how that's going to happen. I don't know. And thanks, Suze.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Gigi writes quickly, the Washington Post is reporting that the CDC will recommend masking indoors at 3 p.m. today. So thank you all unvaccinated in certain circumstances. But yeah. And Susan, we need to think about,
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
See you all.
Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.